Good morning, class. Let's continue with part 2 from chapter 2. Database recovery. Database recovery is the mechanism for restoring a database quickly and accurately after loss or damage. Generally, we try to recover back, whatever data that we have lost based after any damage. So a DBMS should provide four basic facilities for backup and recovery of a database. For example, those four basic facilities are: number one, backup facilities; second is journalizing facilities; number three, checkpoint facility; and number four, recovery manager. So each of them, they have their own set of functions. So let's go with what is backup facilities. A backup facility provides a periodic backup, nightly or weekly, that produces a backup copy of the portion of or the entire database. So each DBMS provides a copy utility for this purpose. So if you see here, they mention it's a periodic backup. So periodic backup means you can set a timing for that. Okay, and there are two parts or two types backup facility. So one is cold backup, the other one is hot backup. So cold backup is database is shut down during backup. Hot backup is selected portion is shut down and backed up at a given time. Okay, selected portion is shut down. So here completely shut down, here partially shut down. Okay, so backups stored in a secure offsite location. Second facility is a journalizing facility. It's to produce an audit trail of transaction and database changes. In the event of failure, a consistent database state can be re-established using the information in the journals together with the most recent complete backup. Okay, there are two types of journal, two basic journalizing facility. One is transaction log, the other one is change log. Okay, transaction log basically contains a record of essential data for each transaction that is processed against the database. Okay, usually it's about the log, what time we go through, log in, log out. So what are the process that we have done, what are the modifications that we have done in the database, like whether you insert record, delete record, update record. So all these are the log. So database changes, which contains the second category, is this database change log, which contains before and after image of records that have been modified by transaction. Okay, a before image is simply a copy of record before it has been modified. So before means before you modify. After image is basically after you modify. So these are the two different, a bit easy to remember. One is before image means before you modify anything they can recover. This one is after image means after they modify, so they can recover or restore back. So this is the database audit trail. You can see we have a backup database over here and we have current database. So whatever here in the current database will be stored in a backup, because if anything happen here they can get back from backup. So that's the reason that we have a backup. And you know that transaction log and then database change log. So here we can get so if there is any transaction and if there is any modification done, will be stored in these two different database category. Third one is the checkpoint facility. Checkpoint facility in DBMS periodically refuses to accept any new transaction. Okay, it refuses to accept any new transaction. All transactions in progress are completed and the journal files are brought up to date. So at this point, this system is in a quiet state, and the database and the transaction logs are synchronized. So generally when it's come to checkpoint facility, uh, it will be like prohibited to get or to accept any new transaction. So a DBMS may perform checkpoint automatically, which is preferred, or in response to commands in user application program. So user is the one utilizing the DBMS platform, or we call this as the application or system. Okay, so they can control on that. Checkpoint should be taken frequently, several times an hour. When failures occurs, it is often possible to resume processing from the most recent checkpoint. See, the most recent checkpoints. So thus only a few minutes of processing work must be repeated, compared with the several hours of complete restart of the day's processing. So it won't be, you don't have to get back or retrieve back the data that has gone. You feel that like 1 hour ago, because it still can give you the record which is the most recent one. Okay, the last facility is actually Recovery Manager. Recovery Manager is a module of DBMS that restores the database to accept correct conditions when a failure occurs, then resumes processing user requests. So the Recovery Manager uses the transaction log and database change log to restore the database. Okay, recovery means get back. They get back the data that has lost due to any damage or unintentionally deleted records. So everything we can recover back, because if you see here this picture, they already have a backup. Okay, this backup would be very helpful because they are the original, they have the original content of the database. Recovery and restart procedure. Techniques used in recovery procedures include: first is disk mirroring, switch between identical copies of database. So we have two databases, okay, A and B. So we can say that identical is A equal to B. Okay, so that is at least two copies of database must be kept and updated simultaneously. So when a media failure occurs, processing is switched to the duplicate. So if there is anything happen here, they still can go for B, because B is exactly what are the data that has been stored in A, because they already equal. So they can refer back. So this is actually one way of recovery process we call as disk mirroring. So we have a data which is direct copy. Next is the restore or rerun. Reprocess transaction against the backup copy. So the first database is shut down. Then the most recent backup copy of database is mounted, and all transactions that have occurred since that copy, which are stored on a transaction log, are rerun. So when you rerun, it will get back or retrieve back the modified data or the old version of the data that you wanted to recover back. Next, so now we are done with B and C. Backward. Okay, there are two types of recovery here that we're going to cover as well: backward recovery and forward recovery. Backward recovery is known as rollback. It's in Microsoft Office Word, I can say that this is like undo. Okay, it's like undo. Okay, and forward recovery is applied after images. So if there is anything that you have applied, so you can go for after image recovery. So this is a DBMS application, okay, where they have the database with changes and the before images. okay, before images and after images are stored or accessed through, okay, we access this particular database through, we go through this DBMS. This is what we call as rollback. Rollback is like undo back, roll forward is like redo. So there are four types of failures. We have aborted transaction, incorrect data, system failure, and database destruction. Okay, that's all for part 2. We'll continue with part 3 shortly after. Thank you.